Next aggravating circumstance, that the crime be committed with the end of armed men and or person who ensure or afford impunity. So this is based on the means and ways of committing the crime. What are the requisites for this aggravating circumstance? That the armed man or person took part in the commission of the crime directly or indirectly. Number 2, that the accused availed himself of the aid or relied upon them when the crime was committed. So, the casual presence of armed men near the place where the crime was committed does not constitute the aggravating circumstance when it appears that the accused did not avail himself of their aid or rely upon them to commit the crime. So what are the example of a crime with an aggravating circumstance with the aid of armed men? Example is A, in order to get rid of her husband, secured the services of other Moros by promising them reward had they killed her husband. In accordance with the plan, the armed themselves with clubs, went to the house of the victim and clubbed him to death. A held a lighted lamp. A also supplied them with rope to which to tie her husband. So in this case, A committed parricide with the aid of armed men. Now, we go to the next paragraph, that the accused is a recidivist. So this is based on the greater perversity of the offender as shown by his inclination to the crime. So ito, hindi nadala paulit-ulit na ginagawa o gumagawa ng krimen. Who is a recidivist? A recidivist is the one who at the time of his trial for one crime shall have been previously convicted by final judgment of another crime, embraced in the same title of the revised penal code. So that is why in your next semester you will study the RPC Book 2. There you will notice that crimes are classified under titles. So mayroong mga titles ang crime, and if that person committed a crime under the same title and other requirements, he can be considered as recidivist. So what are the requirements or the requisites for a person to be considered as recidivist? Number 1, that the offender is on trial for one offense. Next, that he was previously convicted by final judgment of the other crime. So the offender now is on trial of another offense. Ibig sabihin, this is now the second offense. He was convicted for final judgment of another crime. Then number 3, that both first and second offense were embraced in the same title. Yung una niyang crime na nagawa at itong latest crime, they are embraced in the same title. Then, that the offender is convicted of the new offense. So those are the requisites. Ulitin ko, that the offender is on trial for one offense, that he was previously convicted by a final judgment of another crime, convicted by final judgment, even have not served sentence as long as he is convicted by final judgment, that both first and second offense is embraced in the same title of this code, And number 4, that the offender is convicted for a new offense. He is a recidivist. Example for this aggravating circumstance, recidivism, that the accused was convicted for a robbery with homicide committed on November 20, 2024, and that he was previously convicted of a theft, the crime of theft committed in January 1, 2024. So the accused is a recidivist. Next paragraph on aggravating circumstance, class, is that the offender has been previously punished for an offense in which the law attaches an equal or greater penalty for 2 or more crimes to which it attaches a lighter penalty. So ito naman tinatawag na reiteration or habituality. The basis is that the same with recidivism, the greater perversity of the offender as shown in his inclination to commit a crime. So naparusahan na siya, hindi siya nadala, he also commit a crime, other crime. But here, the requisites are, the accused is on trial for an offense that he has previously served sentence for another offense to which the law attaches equal or greater penalty. So here, he has already served an offense. Kanina, sa recidivism, he is only convicted by a final judgment kahit hindi pa siya nagsiserve ng sentence. Habituality or reiteration, that the offender has already served a sentence to which the law attaches equal or greater penalty, or for 2 or more crimes to which it attaches a lighter penalty that for a new offense. And number 3 requisite, that he is again convicted for a new offense. Yun yung requisites for the habituality or reiteration. Example, the accused was convicted of homicide, less serious physical injuries, and slight physical injury, all committed in January 14, 2000. He was found out by the trial court to have committed the offense prior and after to the date as follows. In January 2001, in January 1995, he was arrested and accused as the accused of the crime of theft. In May 1997, he was likewise charged for physical injury, but said case was amicably settled. And on June 1998, he was likewise charged for the crime of theft and was convicted of the said offense. He was likewise charged and convicted for another criminal case. And number 5, he was also charged for theft, but the said case was settled amicably. And number 6, so napakarami niyang kaso. He was charged and convicted for theft on October 30, 2001. So, in reiteration or habituality, it is essential that the offender be previously punished and he has served sentence for an offense that the law attaches or provides for an equal or greater penalty than that attached by law to the second offense or to two or more offense in which the law attaches a lighter penalty. So, pinag-uusapan natin dito, there are four forms of repetition, yung mga kinds of aggravating circumstance which involves repetition of a crime. Number 1 is recidivism under paragraph 9 of Article 14. Number 2 is reiteration or habituality under paragraph 10 of Article 14. The multi-recidivism or habitual delinquency on Article 62 of paragraph 5, and the quasi-recidivism in Article 160. So ito yung apat na forms of repetition. Recidivism na ipaliwanag na natin kanina. Reiteration also na ipaliwanag na natin. Ano ang tinatawag na habitual delinquency? There is an habitual delinquency when a person within a period of 10 years from the date of his release or last conviction of a crime of serious or less serious physical injury, robbery, theft, estafa, or falsification is found guilty of any of said crime and a third time or oftener. In habitual delinquency, the offender is either a recidivist or one has been previously punished for 2 or more offense. Or in reiteration, he shall suffer the additional penalty of being an habitual delinquent. So nabanggit dito yung crimes that is committed by the accused, and these are crimes of serious or less serious physical injury, robbery, theft, estafa, or falsification. So within the 10 years from the date of his release or last conviction of these crimes, and he is found guilty of the said crime for third or oftener, or palagi nila siyang gumagawa ng crimes na nabanggit for third time and fourth, or so on and so forth, he is considered as habitual delinquent. Ano naman ang tinatawag na quasi-recidivism? Any person who shall commit a felony after having been convicted by final judgment before beginning to serve such sentence or while serving the same shall be punished by the maximum period of penalty prescribed by law for the new felony. So, for example, the defendants while serving in believed prison for one crime struck and stabbed foreman of the brigade of prisoners. So, under Article 160 of the Code, he shall be punished with the maximum period of penalty prescribed by law for the new felony. So, what is important here is that he is convicted by final judgment or he is going to serve for such sentence, or while serving sentence, he committed a felony in the, he committed a crime which is embraced in the revised penal code. Paragraph 11, that the crime be committed in consideration of price, reward, or promise. So this is based on the greater perversity of the offender as shown by the motivating power itself. So the price, reward, or promise must be for the purpose of inducing another to perform the deed. The evidence must show that one of the accused used money or other valuable consideration for the purpose of inducing another to perform the deed. So ito, you are a principal by inducement. You did not participated in the commission of the crime, but through your money, by giving reward to the principals, by direct participation, they have committed the crime. So that aggravating circumstance can be appreciated. Price, reward, or promise. Paragraph 12, that the crime be committed by means of inundation, fire, poison, explosion, stranding a vessel, or intentional damage thereto, derailment of a locomotive, or by use of any other artifice involving great waste and ruin. The basis of this is the means and ways employed by the accused in committing a crime. So using inundation by means of fire, poison, explosion, and stranding a vessel. So what are the example? For example, by means of fire, the accused had set a fire to an automobile under a building, with the result that the edifice was consumed by fire. One of the inmates of the house perished in the conflagration. So in order to constitute murder, there should be an actual design to kill, and that the use of fire should be purposely adopted as means to that end. So, to qualify the killing to murder, the prosecution must prove that the fire is used deliberately in order to kill the person. So, that can be appreciated as aggravating circumstance. Killing a person using fire. By means of explosion, that is already self-explanatory, by derailment of locomotives. Paragraph 13, that the act committed with evident premeditation.